Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, please allow me to apologise for the state of my hands. My wife asked me to do some housework. I suspect I may be allergic to it. A while ago I promised I would be re-reviewing some of my watches as a result of discovering editing software. This will be one of those reviews. For some time I'd been considering a ball watch. The trouble being that the right watch had never become available at the right price. Then this one came along. I won't go into the history of the brand, but basically Ball started off as an American brand making watches for railroad workers. Then at some point they got taken over by the Swiss. They are renowned for their high quality timepieces. Many say they are comparable with Swiss brands costing an awful lot more.
So welcome to my unpaid, unsponsored and unprofessional review of the Ball Fireman Nightbreaker.
Okay, usual format, let's get the dimensions out the way. It's got a 40mm case, a 20mm lug width, a lug to lug of 48mm, it's only 11.5mm deep, and the weight, once adjusted to my 17cm wrist, on this bracelet comes in at 138 grams. There we are, there's a presentation box, quite generic but very premium. Inside is the 4-year warranty card.
For those interested, this is my watch of the day. It's a Christopher Ward super compressor on this rather nice riveted bracelet.
The signed screw down crown is 7mm, it's also quite deep, it's extremely well knurled, it's very easy to operate and the engagement is absolutely silky smooth. Now this watch has got 100 metres water resistance, which is just about perfect for a sports watch. Inside the watch is the Sellita SW200. Now that's a Swiss clone of the ETA 2824. It's a 4Hz high beat movement, it ticks away at 28,800 beats per hour, it hacks and it hand winds. These are extremely reliable movements and regulated correctly can be very accurate, especially as the positional variance on these tends to be quite minimal. Now let's have a look at how it's doing on the time grapher. Now there's a lovely set of figures, plus 1 second a day, high amplitude, 0 beat error. Almost perfect. I believe the sapphire crystal on this is flat and it does have some AR coating, I'm not exactly sure how much though. Now the case on this is stunning. Other than the top of the lugs, it's fully polished. The bezel itself is set at 45 degrees. Then the next layer down is concave, let me show you. It then reverts to being upright shortly before stepping down and reaching the case sides. Strangely enough, it almost looks like the lugs are separate to the case itself, but I'm pretty sure they're not. Let me show you there. Now moving over to the case back. Well, the case back itself has a train embossed on it, which represents some of Ball's heritage. And then needless to say, around these sides itself it does have some basic information. Now although these lugs are quite long, they're beautifully shaped and it does fit the back of the wrist very well. The dial and the indices are available in a choice of colours, this obviously being the blue. The dial is set on 2 levels, with the minute track on the outside whilst the raised indices protrude over the lower tier. The lower tier itself has got some circular texturing, and printed on the top is Ball official standard and above the 6 is automatic 100 metres. As you can see, there is an unframed date window at 3 o'clock. Now the watch has got T25 tritium tubes on each of the indices and both of the pencil hands. What's nice is there is an orange tritium tube at the 12 o'clock. Now that helps remind you that you're not standing on your head. Let's have a look at the dial in the dark. Now whilst the bracelet is quite comfortable and it looks lovely, it's not actually the bracelet I would have personally chosen for the watch. Now it's a combination of satin brushing and fine polishing on the sides as well there. The links are obviously solid, the end link is solid and female and both sides fit perfectly to the case as you'd expect. And they are adjustable via screw pins and this does come with half links as well. It doesn't taper and it goes to this butterfly clasp, which is a bit of an elephant in the room. It is secure, I'm just not a fan of butterfly clasps, I've got to admit. Anyway, it is comfortable and it does the job. Now here's the bit you want to know about the price and the value for money. I'm not going to pretend this watch is cheap, because it isn't. Purchased from a UK retailer, it's going to set you back about £1,130. I'm not sure, but it's probably cheaper in the USA or Australia, because frankly most watches are. I managed to pick up a mint condition used one for £560. Believe me, it was a long time before I could find a ball watch that I liked at that price. It's not for me to tell you whether or not this watch represents good value for money, but if you factor in the quality and the fact it's a Swiss made watch and it's made to exacting standards, perhaps you will come to the right conclusion. Anyway, it's only money and you can't take it with you. When I received the watch, there were no noticeable QC issues. I've no real dislikes, although if I were to design the watch, I'd put a different bracelet and clasp on it. I may also be tempted to make the case just a millimetre smaller, but that's probably just because I've got early wrists. Other than that, this watch is absolutely superb, and one I'm particularly proud of owning. The case is a work of art, the movement very accurate, the crown a pleasure to use, and that dial and tritium indices are just wonderful. As you may well know, I'm a collector of affordable watches, but some are a bit more affordable than others. Like all consumables, sometimes you don't have to be an expert to know when you're handling something of real quality, and this is one of those items. Now if you find yourself with a spare few quid and you don't fancy leaving it to one of your sprogs, you could do worse than buying yourself a Fireman nightbreaker. Now that brings me to the end of this review. If you've enjoyed it, please click on the like button, consider subscribing, leave your comments below and enjoy the rest of your day.